And offer yourself support as you come down to maybe first a seat as you make your way down to lie on your side. Mermaid pose, just folding the legs out to one side, and leisurely coming down onto an elbow, and maybe taking a breath or more in the fetal position. Just resting on your side again, appreciating the transition from upright to supported by the earth, laying down with hips and heart in alignment, perhaps blood pressure. From here, I invite you to explore a twist. Whichever shoulder is on top, you might peel it back any amount. Maybe the elbow comes to rest on your waist or even drape behind you. And the top knee may shift forward in space. You may notice any sounds or sensations as you make space in the spine. You could cradle your head and your other hand bending at the elbow. Is that all? Notice your breath as you allow this soft twist to take place. Maybe reaching with the top foot out to the side. Maybe even pressing your hip forward, reaching with the bent knee. Could toggle your nose from left to right, exploring the soft twist with the cervical spine. Nice work. As you're ready, you may choose to unwind and lengthen on your, maybe inchworming around until you feel comfortable and connected with the earth in such a way that you're able to roll to your belly. And take your time, maybe shifting forward or back so that you have space for your ankles to rest on the mat, maybe your elbows as they come wide, and stack your palms to make a pillow for your forehead. And can you tune into your breath again here? Noticing the feedback of the floor as you breathe in, maybe letting the belly inflate against the mat. And can you notice too, as you fill up a little more with that last sip of air as your ribs rise away from the mat? Exhale, notice contraction as though a tiny balloon in the center of your rib cage is returning to its normal contracted size. And then maybe still picturing that little balloon in your heart space, noticing as it fills up and expands in all directions. Pressing your belly and ribs into the floor and lifting your back towards the sky. Sending your waistline out in both directions, left and right. You might press the tops of your feet into the mat. Notice all the places your body connect with the ground as you exhale. Find softness. Choose to stay here in stillness or begin to slowly kick one foot towards your hip is what I meant to say. And same thing on the other side, almost like a swimmer, slowly moving through the water. Maybe noticing the kind of magic moment of swinging in space when left and right cross each other. You might choose to lift your footprint towards the sky as your heel comes close to the hip. Lifting your knee away from the mat as though to slide a piece of paper under it. You might notice the activation of the glute muscles as you do this. Continue to tune into your breath here. You might press your forehead into the back of your hands if it's resting there. Lengthening the back of the neck. And choose when you feel finished here, going long on the mat again as both feet return to the floor. Choose to stay and rest, or as you're ready to practice cobra, bring both handprints to the outside edges of your shoulders. Maybe scoot your handprints back just an inch or two from there, so your elbows point towards the sky, almost like you're shrugging your shoulders, but then think about sliding away from your ears. And imagine lacing up the space between your shoulder blades, your elbows squeezed towards your spine on your back. Nice, this is good work as your nose hovers above the mat in front of you. You might notice the length of the back of your neck, maybe tucking your chin a bit. Nice, with an inhale, maybe your heart rises away from the mat any amount. And with an exhale, you can deflate. Maybe imagine pushing a button on the mat under your nose. Inhale to lift, rise. Look at the short edge of the mat in front of you. Exhale to lower. Notice the strength of the back of your body as you lift. Still reaching towards center with your elbows behind you. Letting your collarbone be broad. Maybe pressing the tops of your feet into the floor. Nice work. You can let this be the last one. If you're done, maybe resting your hands in a little stack under your forehead again. Again, you have the option to stay here and rest or find Sphinx pose. Maybe first bringing your fingertips to find the outer corners of opposite elbow on both arms. This will kind of allow you to find a forearm's distance between both elbows. Bring them to ground underneath your shoulders, bringing your forearms as though on railroad tracks, and your handprints can glue down, palms facing the floor. Again, a breath in might bring your awareness to your belly button as it inflates towards the floor. From here, can you imagine driving down into both elbows, maybe noticing a subtle lift of your sternum? A big breath in might allow the ribcage to expand up and down as your diaphragm unfolds from the lowest ribs and reaches towards the floor. Gluing both handprints down even more, sealing the arms against the floor, can press into both elbows to rise out of the shoulders, maybe finding length in the sides of your neck. Imagine dragging your sternum forward as though to place your rib cage in front of you between your elbows. Can you feel the strength of this back arch that you've created in your strong Sphinx pose here? Can you use your breath to massage this posture from the inside out? As you're ready to uncurl, unwind, return to level, I invite you to bring your heart close to the floor. And from here, we'll roll onto the back. Again, taking your time, offering yourself support as you do so. And take just a moment to flatness, notice the sensation of your back supported by the earth. And I invite you to bring your knees to bend, pointing towards the sky, letting both footprints walk towards your hips. If you're unsure of placement, you might reach along your sides and dust the backs of your heels with your fingertips. And see how it feels if your footprint connected with the earth about right there. It might be nice to softly windshield wiper your shins from left to right, offering a subtle and soft twist to the lower spine, leaving the rib cage glued to the mat. Nice work. We'll prepare for bridge pose. A big breath in might fill you with energy, and a big breath out might reground your handprints and arms, activating all of the muscles in both arms as they root down to the mat. Another breath in might lift the hips towards the sky as you press into both heels, both footprints. Can you let the weight be supported by your shoulder blades here? You could even tuck your chin to let the back of your neck be long. And can you lengthen both arms against the mat, allowing your heart to sprout away from the floor like a little flower? You have the option to stay here and breathe, or bring a block underneath your hips on any height for support. You might be able to look at your belly and watch it inflate and rise towards the sky as your diaphragm resists gravity in a kind of push-up. Notice the expansion of your ribcage that follows and the contraction. You have the option to walk your elbows towards each other, maybe interlacing your fingers, squeezing your handprints towards each other and the floor. You might walk your shoulders underneath you and open your heart even more skyward. Again, pressing into both heels to lift the hips. You might notice the strength of both legs. And can you press into your elbows to assist with your lift as well? And come down from your bridge pose at any time. Notice your breath as you do so. Maybe first making space between shoulder blades and elbows, walking hands away from one another as you make space to lower your spine to the mat. Of course, removing a block from under your hips if practicing with that support. You might take just a moment to again rest here in flatness, noticing the support of the mat under your long spine. Maybe looking left and looking right. Soft twist for the cervical spine. And choosing to make a figure 4 with your legs, you can bend one knee, bringing the ankle to the top of the opposite thigh. Allowing that knee to fall outward towards the side, externally rotating a bit. Choose to stay here or bring your lap toward your heart as your other foot leaves the mat. You could bring your handprint under your folded knee for resistance and support. Or you could bring it to the outside of that knee and create resistance with the knee. Just noticing activation on either side with the hand. You also have the option to reach through this window created by your folded figure 4 leg arrangement, and maybe interlace the fingertips behind the thigh or around the front of the knee. And as you do so, you may notice you're able to connect your elbow with the inside of the thigh on that folded leg. And it creates a little bit of support and resistance as your hands, your forearms, kind of draw the other thigh towards your heart. These are just activations to notice, kind of connection points to explore. There's no right or wrong if your variation looks different than mine. Just remember that. You may choose to stay here and breathe as you flex the toes of your folded foot towards the shin. You also have the option to rock from left to right and notice how this changes the sensation of the pose. Nice. Whenever you're ready, support yourself as you unwind, maybe bringing both footprints to the floor again. And changing sides, we'll bring the other ankle this time to the top of the opposite thigh as we fold that knee outward. And choose to stay here and breathe with toes flexing toward lifted shin, or bring your whole lap towards your heart, maybe bringing your hands to both knees to gently create extra weight to assist the angles of this pose. Or you could reach through the window you've created and interlace fingertips behind your thigh or around the front of your shin. This is half pigeon pose, reclined half pigeon pose. Again, you have the option to sway from side to side, rocking, maybe offering a little comfort to any intensity felt in this position. I invite you to tune in to the sound of your breath. See if you can notice the sensations of your global breathing while you sit with the intensity of this pose. When you feel complete, you can bring both footprints to the floor. And whichever side you practice your fetal position on before, you may choose to roll to the other side or a twist again on the other side. So sending your knees and shoulders that direction. And imagine drawing an arrow back like an archer as you bring the top shoulder and elbow back behind you, maybe allowing the top knee to shift forward in front of the lower knee. And you could explore a left and right toggle with your nose, offering that soft cervical spinal twist as you stay here and breathe, maybe 3 or 5 breaths.